Welcome everybody to the Arizona Cardinals Madden 19 Rebuild franchise, as today we embark on another offseason. Year 3 was pretty successful for us as we brought the Cardinals to the postseason and actually won our first playoff game and took the Cowboys down to the final minutes in the divisional round. We still have a really young team, and I think that we exceeded expectations this year. So today we try to take that next step. We go through another offseason, another chance to upgrade this roster in some key areas. And overall, I'm feeling really good about where this team is at. I think we have enough young talent in the right areas, like at wide receiver. We still have Josh Rosen, and I guess, we're not totally sold on him yet. I think a lot of you are ready to already move on. I think some would like him to be traded today and then try to find a replacement. I don't think that's going to be happening. I think we're going to stick with him still, try to find a good backup, and then see how next year goes, because I'm not ready to give up. I want to look at some career stats quick before we move on. Went through awards and whatnot already, I think, in the previous video. But Rosen in this series, 75 touchdowns, 35 interceptions. Obviously, when we're watching the games, we've seen some really big glaring flaws with his play. Some really bad interceptions at times. But I feel that when the game is on the line, he's played at his best. It's just, how do we make the first 3 quarters a little bit better? We saw a huge jump this year for Rosen's numbers. I've done a lot to help him out. He had only 35 sacks this year. Touchdowns went up, interceptions went down, passer rating is up, completion percentage is way up. After that 1 year, I need to see what happens in 2021, and then we'll make another decision when his contract is up. On the ground, David Johnson, he's been a big part of our offense, obviously, and hopefully our offensive line can get even better this year so that next season the running game is more of a strength and not just a handy complement. So our leading receivers all time right now with our career stats are Jermaine Gresham and David Johnson. Still working on getting Christian Kirk and Isaac White developed. Kirk is only a 74 overall, earning XP. It seems really slowly, and I have high hopes for Kirk, but he's still only a 74 overall. We've seen 2 pretty good stat lines for him in this series, but I am going to revisit the XP sliders and do some stuff for the future of this series, and I'll have those updates whenever I can get those complete. Chandler Jones, 76 sacks. Our pass rush was actually really good this season. Patrick Peterson under contract now for a couple more years, so I think it's time, everybody, to begin our newest off-season journey. The Rams are Super Bowl champions. They're our biggest rivals right now, and we start off the offseason with only a handful of key decisions to make in free agency. Stephen Gostkowski was really good this season. I would like to keep him on a 1-year deal, and he's going to test free agency apparently. I liked the role Josh Doctson played on this team for a while, and he came through in that final playoff game with some really big catches. But I like the players we have. I don't want to sign a 28-year-old receiver right now to even a moderate deal. 3 years, $20 million isn't the highest, but it was 1 year. We found out we have some pretty good receivers on this team. We're going to stick with them. Jamar Taylor is not a bad player, but I like the younger players on our roster, especially with Taylor now regressing. We are not going to keep him around. Chad Williams is set to hit the open market. I don't think we're going to be able to keep him. He wants a bit more money than I want to pay. And we'll give it a shot, though. Chad Williams, I guess he's going to try somewhere else. We're able to keep Azim Victor, though, on a 2-year contract. I gave him a little bit more than he was looking for, like a 1-year, $1 million deal. I wanted 2 years because he's a scheme fit. He has some pretty good traits, and he's only 25. I've already taken away any offer from Davis Webb. I'm going to look at backup quarterback this season, and I'm open to bringing Webb back, but I'm hoping we can find someone a bit better with a higher ceiling. Jermaine Gresham, we're going to move on from him. Josh Martin, 29 years old, time to move on. Same for Tony Lippett. And Corey Peters as well. Defensive tackle is one area I plan to address this year. So I'm going to be moving on from a lot of these older players. Then we have, I think, mostly like practice squad talents here. All right, we keep our backup tackle, Brady Mamula, for 3 more seasons. He's a 71 overall, and he's 25, so he might get a little bit better. I think he's a solid backup option. Same with AJ Vlachos here. Okay, we re-sign all these players here for added depth, and then the franchise tag on Gostkowski, I'm not passing that up. So we're all done here and still have plenty of cap space now for a potential free agent upgrade. Right now, we have almost $70 million in cap space, over $100 million in funds. We never had this good of a financial situation in the series with the Browns, so this is exciting. These are the largest deals we have this year. Chandler Jones, David Johnson, Patrick Peterson, those are the large numbers. These ones aren't too bad. We have some key players entering the last years of their contracts, however. So next year might be a little bit tougher. We want to keep around cap space to potentially sign Rosen to a big deal should he earn it. And then obviously David Johnson, he's going to be 30, so a tough decision to make next year for sure. It's not a bad idea to go after maybe not a first round running back, but any other round might need to be considered just for the future of this team. All right, time to see if there are some good opportunities out there. Now it's saying about $60 million in cap space, which is still a large number. And Christian McCaffrey is available. Tariq Cohen, David Njoku. Sadly, there's no like high quality defensive tackle that's available on the open market. Maybe there's someone decent we can sign, but I don't see us using much of this cap space if all the good players available are corners. And then Desmond King is a solid option, but I like our corner situation and I want to develop it. So there are some spots where maybe we could have used like a free agent upgrade, but I have this young roster and they're only going to get better by playing. I found that out, in the Browns series, trying to have all these players for development, but they didn't play, so it didn't work. So sometimes you just got to let the young guys play. We have pretty good receivers here. Very young, a lot of potential, some good scheme fits. And then at corner, we obviously only have 3 on the roster, so that has to change. But I plan on this being our top 3 this year. Denard Huval, 23 years old, Jackie McAllister, 75 overall. And then maybe in a year we can look at, what happens with Patrick Peterson. Do we have to find someone better? But for now, I think we're okay. Yeah, if we want another quarterback on the roster, I'm probably going to wait until preseason if I can't draft somebody. Phillip Rivers here, I'm sure a lot of you would like to see me just sign Rivers for 1 season, but not doing that. As far as maybe a running back to put on the roster, I think that Matt Breida and Marlon Mack would be interesting choices. There's also Deontay Foreman here and Carlos Hyde. I'd want to go younger than Hyde. Chris Carson is out there. I'm thinking either Foreman, who's a scheme fit, or Marlon Mack, who's a different type of back than David Johnson. But being that Foreman is a scheme fit in 25, almost to his next archetype upgrade, would not hate adding him to the roster on a cheap short-term deal. So I'll throw out like a 2-year, maybe between $5 and $6 million and see if he goes after it. Ooh, Kenny Golladay hit the open market. That's an exciting one. Doxson getting interest here from the Bills. He'll probably get a decent payday. Kenny Golladay, just want to see his numbers here in the ratings. He's not going to upgrade very many times in his career, but he's really solid. You have to look at these 80 overall receivers as being pretty good. I think that an 80 overall receiver might be a bigger deal than maybe 80 at some other spots, but also the scaling just seems like, players in the 80s, they're pretty good, and you should be happy with where they are. The spot I really wanted to find somebody was defensive tackle, and I can't believe this is the best we can do. This isn't really worth addressing in free agency, unless there's maybe a 3-4 end who could fit at that spot a little better, like Daquan Jones, but he's probably going to get a big contract, and he's a little bit older than I'd want to go for. What about right end? Jonathan Allen. That could work. That could be the one I'm looking for, actually. We'd put him right at defensive tackle, and I really think that would be a big help for the defense, although I would like to get like another nose tackle on this team. 3 years, $17.5 million offer. It's worth 81 points. Another spot I'd like to address is linebacker. I think that it's one of our weaker positions and we could use some better help alongside Jalen Smith. Sadly, it's not a good spot to look at here in free agency. Just everybody's getting signed, it seems. So I'm guessing that players aren't asking for big enough contracts or something because no one's hitting the market that's going to get a big payday. There are some role players I wouldn't mind adding to the team, like what if we had John Ross on here to stretch the field, but then you have teams like New England giving out these 75-point bids, and I don't want these players that badly. Chester Rogers has 11 bids. I think I'm really just stepping back this offseason. I don't want to mess with a lot of these. I like the players we have, and while we could get some overall bumps in some areas, I want to develop the players that are already on the team. Alright, here's a versatile player I have some interest in, Curtis Samuel, who could also fit in at running back potentially, but he wouldn't be bad depth. He could help on returns and kind of do those typical wide receiver 4 duties, I guess. So, just looking to make a small offer here because I don't expect him to get much interest. One spot I have been thinking about is tight end. It's not that I don't like Ricky Seals-Jones, but he does have an expiring contract next year. And I'm not sure I want to give him like a big deal. I think he'd look for something more in this range though, given his overall, which is reasonable. But I've thought about, what about O.J. Howard? This would not be a huge investment, and I think it would help out the passing game. So the baseline deal here, O.J. Howard, that's enough for the lead. I'm also going to make a small offer here for Ben Gideon. He's a scheme fit and a pretty good run stopper, so he might be able to find a role on this team. We're also going to try to get Obi Melifonwu as a backup. I just love the athleticism, and if you could somehow develop the skills, I mean, the talent is clearly there. So here we go, simming on to stage number 2. Do the Cardinals have any new players for year 4 of the series? Well, we have at least one. Ben Gideon has accepted the contract, as has O.J. Howard, Jonathan Allen, and that is it. But how about that? We add O.J. Howard now to the offense, and that does create, a lot of competition here for Ricky Seals-Jones, who could be now placed on the trade block. I think Ricky's a good player. I just think O.J. Howard is a better player. And to have that chance to go get a high-quality player at a price that's really fair, had to go for it. So here's what Seals-Jones has done in the series, and I think that there could be a market for his talent. Now we change Jonathan Allen's position to defensive tackle. He goes from, like an 83 overall end. He's an 82 overall defensive tackle and our highest at the position. So we just got stronger there in 2 areas. Cornerback was the other one where it was like, man, Kevin King's out there and there are some other players in like the 80 overall range. And it was tempting. But I really feel like it's going to be best for the team if this year we don't sign anybody and we play the young guys next to Pat Pete. My main plan now is to focus on the draft and how we can make this team better. We do have a couple second-round picks this year. We have 2 5s, we have 2 6s, and maybe we get another pick in return for Ricky Seals-Jones. So, when I think about what I'd like to find this year, I wouldn't mind drafting a quarterback sometime in maybe the middle of the draft. There are a few decent options there, but I'm not sure there's a great one that has a future starting role. The early quarterbacks are solid, and then running back, obviously, starting to think about, like, hey, maybe we have to be ready for what's after David Johnson, and there's usually a couple options here, but it's a thinner running back class in general. I don't feel there is a specific position I need to really target early in the draft to fill a need. So when I look at the best players who are available, we're going to be picking, of course, a little bit later in the first round, but we have the potential to trade up. So what could we maybe do here? We have a couple good safety options here. We have really good cover safety here in Combs, and then Lynn Anthony, probably a better tackling safety. Brian McConnell, speed rusher, did not go to the combine apparently. He decided that it wasn't worth it, and I'd say his talent probably says that he's a good player anyway. If McConnell falls, and sometimes these combine skippers will fall, I have a lot of interest. Franklin Reed looks like a really good running back. He ran an exceptional 40, had the best agility scores, and has great elusiveness. Very different back from David Johnson. Looks like a very high caliber player. Here's Jimmy Ohalete. I hope I'm saying that correctly. I had to find an article from 2002 that had a reference to a football player with the same last name. So, Ohalete. We have not the best athletic profile, but an outstanding top 3. He's only 21. I'm more apt to address cornerback in the draft than in free agency, just for the chance to develop these players a bit. But that combine's pretty concerning. If we look closer to our draft range, maybe some of those early second round options as well. Here's Rashad Glass, good block shed, tackle in pursuit. I think that's a player we could consider, but his athleticism is not very good. Definitely a 2-down player, not going to help you much against the pass. There are some good receiver options, as you would expect. A couple pass rushers out there. I'm coming away looking at this now in full, just a little disappointed in the quality of this class. Contract accepted by Deontay Foreman, Obi Melifonwu, and Curtis Samuel. So a few more role players added to the team, and we still have a bunch of rookies to add to a roster that I feel is already pretty good. I focused the first 2 years, like, let's get some youth on this team, and we have 3 offensive linemen that I drafted. We have 2 wide receivers here that I drafted, and then defensively, we had 2 pass rushers last year do really well coming off the bench in Graham and Collins. Man, I just feel like this roster is already really impressive. Here are the top league signings, by the way. Christian McCaffrey, 5 years, $46 million to the Raiders. Tariq Cohen gets a big deal. Both Cohen and Njoku are out to Washington, and Njoku got way more money than we gave O.J. Howard, so we got a deal. Joe Mixon to Seattle. Jason Kelsey gets signed. Desmond King got 32/4, which is really good for the team. Phillip Rivers to New England. He's been there in other series of mine. Alrighty. Blake Bortles to replace Andy Dalton. Yeah. And Josh Doxson ended up getting a $21 million contract, actually. So good for him. I wasn't going to pay that. Man, teams really see the potential in Chester Rogers. 77 overall. He still gets $6 million a year to go to the Browns. How about this for an early first-round running back talent? 3 ratings in the A- category. That's pretty cool. 4'6", 140, not too impressive. I'm just like looking for someone worth trading up for, because I don't think that if we just sit at our picks, we're going to be very happy. All right, Jason Leonard. There's a tackle with a lot of potential, but we have some young offensive linemen I'm developing. I'm finding some cornerbacks that are interesting, and I might want to go for one early. I'm not sure. It's just kind of the strength of this draft class. This is a weird one for sure. No more deals done. No trade offers for Seals Jones. So I might look at what we can do if I try to trade manually. You know, I found a few teams that were interesting, but I don't want a pick right now. I don't feel good enough about this class to just want another selection. I might just rather keep Ricky Seals-Jones at this point, because I looked for some players that might be worth trading, and I couldn't get anything done and couldn't find any players that I thought, fit from like an age, talent, and contract situation. So I might just roll with Howard and Seals-Jones and make sure we utilize them together. I could also deal him during the season and get a pick for next year. We already have a ton this season, so it wouldn't be bad to get something else for next year. It is time for another draft. Let's take a look at our team now and see what the plan is going to be. I don't think that wide receiver is so good we can't look to see what opportunities are there in the draft. But I do like the top 3 players that we are building around, including Isaac White, who got up to an 83 overall and is very close to another archetype upgrade, so that's big for him. Then there's Will Wade, I like our offensive linemen, but it wouldn't hurt to maybe add a guard or a center. DJ Humphries is only 27, but he's not really getting a whole lot better. It would take an early prospect to replace Humphries. And then for Ryan Kelly, I just don't think we have him on a very big contract. Pretty good pass blocker, though. How long are we going to have Kelly? It might just be for like another season. No, actually it is for a little while. So thank you, past self, for signing him to a larger deal, I guess. But I'm not sure he'll be starting caliber all the way through that deal. Then on defense, obviously, I like our young defensive ends. I want to keep playing them. Golden's a 73. What is happening here? Regression hit hard here. Oh, man. But we're prepared for that. We already added Jonathan Allen. Cornerback could be addressed, but I do like the players we have. Yeah, linebacker's the main spot, I guess. That's our largest need, I'd say. Wow, the Minnesota Vikings are on the clock here to start the draft. Number 1. And the Vikings go to right tackle and select Jason Leonard. So we don't pick for a while. If we do trade up, it'd probably be in the 10 to 20 range. So I want to sim through the first 9-ish picks and then see how the board falls. Some good players off the board, though, early. Branch Kelly was one I really liked. Good defensive end. Oh, wow. He's already off the board. Was he supposed to? Oh, Alete goes to the Colts, though, a 76 overall. Then Brian McConnell's gone. He was another good one. And Tyshawn Robertson. Good tackle going to Cleveland to protect Blake Bortles. Okay. Let's see my draft board now. 16 selections away from where we would be selecting normally. And let's see. Safety options, running back options, not positions that really move the needle a ton. Like Marty Sicko, he's the best player here. Good quarterback. I can't believe he's still out there. Absolutely. Dre McCown here ran a 4.9. He has great run block and pass block ratings. That could be a player worth trading up for, should he fall a few more selections. Then you get all these cornerbacks, of course, and some of the linebackers like Lakeem Roundtree, good run stopper. Would prefer finding somebody who has some good pass coverage potential, but those options might be a little thin. Yeah, for a coverage backer, you kind of have to look to the middle of the draft for someone like Gregory Douglas with B- zone coverage at 24 years old. There's also Parker Wood, who's 23, might be a better fit, and he's much faster. And then Ryan Flores here, 24 years old, pretty good speed, B-zone coverage. Wow, Dre McCown was the next player taken. He was like 9th or 10th on the overall board. Come on, Philly. Leave someone for me to draft an 84 overall running back. We're checking on the Titans once this one's over. Lakeem Roundtree is next. They just traded up or something? How'd they get back to back? Two good players going to the Titans. Man, I feel like I'm missing out right now. And all the while, still on the board, we have two good quarterback options, Lester Phelps and Marty Sicko. Man, they're putting me into a really tough spot here because I don't see a lot of players I like. Then we have Rosen. We sure don't know if he can be the franchise quarterback yet. He hasn't shown it quite yet. And then you have these two options that are now falling. Man, how incredible could Phelps be? He has 4.6 speed, outstanding athleticism, had 23 bench reps, A- break sack, A- throw power. We just don't know the accuracies on him. Then for Sicko, very good short accuracy, decent mobility too, only 21 years old. Wow, these are really good quarterback options. They should not still be available. There has not been a quarterback drafted yet. I don't know why. So the Giants have Dak Prescott. They're on the clock right now. Then we go to Tampa Bay, and they still have Winston. They very well could draft somebody. And the Seahawks have Russell Wilson. So they're going to be going in a different direction. I think I got to try trading up here. This is a unique opportunity in a strange draft class. All right, we can probably do this for a second round pick. We can work our way up to 16. Let's see if number 58 is enough. I think it will be. That's a big jump from our 3rd round pick. Oh, they want the better 2nd round pick. I can't blame them. It's 12 selections better. And the deal is done. The Cardinals are on the clock. I didn't expect this to happen. The draft has fallen in a strange way. I like the roster that we have. And when I see Lester Phelps, I see such a unique talent. 4'6", 40. Good 3-cone, 20-yard shuttle, bench press, mid-first round talent at 21 years old. He could be an absolute game changer at the position. Then there's Marty Sicko. We know he'd have good short accuracy for sure. Throw power should be enough. Good play action. Might fit our scheme right now a little bit better. This is so hard. I mean, I like Rosen. I like what I've seen. But to have these quarterbacks out here, like, how do I ignore these guys and draft someone else? These players aren't as good. There's a lot of busts in this area. Positions we don't need. Safety is not a game-changing position. When it comes to Rosen, we have a quarterback with good short accuracy. What I like about this situation here, if we go Phelps, we have 2 drastically different styled quarterbacks. If we take Sicko, he might have very comparable ratings to Rosen. They're going to have good short accuracy. Rosen already has a stronger arm. I think if we take a quarterback here, we take a different type of quarterback. We take someone who can be dynamic outside the pocket, and we see if we can make this work. And if he has great accuracies, it's a huge bonus. I think we can afford to make this pick right now. I don't think most teams in this situation would, but I feel good about our roster and the youth that we have and the chance to take a game changer at quarterback like Lester Phelps. We're doing it. Phelps is the pick, and he's a 78 overall. All right. We just took a quarterback. I did not expect to do this. 78 scrambler, 75 strong arm, which is our archetype. Quick development. Phelps. 80 short accuracy, 79 medium accuracy, and 75 deep. Now, I'm not saying that Phelps is drafted to be the starter right away, but I talked about wanting a good 2nd quarterback on this team. And yeah, we just spent a premium to do it. But it gives us a great backup option, and it gives us another player if Rosen isn't good enough. So, 84 speed, 91 agility, 96 injury. That's big for a mobile quarterback. Lester Phelps was the pick. I can't believe I just did this. To take a quarterback here, I did not expect to do that. But I think that the Sicko is going off the board here pretty soon. I can't believe he's still not gone. What is happening here? Sicko goes to the Steelers. He's a 79 overall, so we have to check on him. But like I said, I think that his skill set was just so similar to Rosen. I'm not sure that you really gain an edge there. Instead, we can have a mobile quarterback. We have a traditional pocket passer in Rosen, and we can figure it out. So, 1st round coming to an end. What do you think about that selection? Going quarterback there. Avery Payne goes to the Rams, who already have Todd Gurley. That's a surprise. And I'm just seeing a lot of these like low 70s go off the board. This is not a great class. So I knew we had to trade up for somebody. Didn't think it would be a quarterback. Oh, there goes Glass. I really had interest in him. Thought he'd be a higher overall, though. I'm just waiting until our next pick now. Just about there, and the Cardinals are on the clock. I'm not expecting the board to really show a lot of potential here. There are a couple 1st-round options. There's Normando Pope, who ran a 4.5. He's 21 years old, had a B+ release. Catching, though, isn't very good. He would need a lot of development, but intriguing. But intriguing enough to be the selection, we'll see. Parker Robbins, 4.31 at 5'8 with B+ release. Wow. But we know that his catching is not a C+ or higher. His catching is very poor. We have 37 players left on the board, which seems like a very small number for this early in the draft. 3rd round running back, A.J. Breston. Not very strong. Decent athleticism, though. We have Dayon Meacham at end. Can't see him being the pick right here. Then we have those receivers. Sanchez, Dawsey, not a bad safety option, but the speed is pretty much a deal breaker. Yeah, I think I know the selection here. I like Alexander Barton. He's a third round option, and we're in the late second round right now. I think that getting someone young to be ready to replace Ryan Kelly is a good option, and he's a scheme fit, so maybe he could start earlier than I think. He is the selection. Whoa. 73 overall. I did not expect that low. It is a reach. 79 run block, 74 pass. So that's a player who's going to need some development. Really odd draft so far, isn't it? This class, you know, it wasn't what I was hoping for. We're just trying to make it work. And I did not expect to start like this. So hopefully we can still find some solid role players down the stretch to fill out some of the key roles on the roster. We just saw Pope go off the board. He's a 74 overall. I just didn't think that his overall skill set would be enough. I really do like our receivers right now, and I want to stick with them. But I'm not seeing a lot of, like, greens go off the board. Not that you should in this stage, but, like, I haven't seen one in a while. I guess that last running back to go was it. Just really not a good class this year. Doesn't mean we can't find some good players, though, and I might want to go linebacker in this spot. There were multiple players I thought fit the role I was looking for. Most of them at middle linebacker. I thought that was the strength of this linebacker class, so let's look at them specifically. Parker, Wood, Flores is there. Wood had the really good 40-yard dash. 4.57, great athleticism, great zone coverage. Plus, we get the hit power in pursuit. So I see a pretty complete player. Maybe he can play in the nickel with Jalen Smith. I think Parker Wood is the easy selection right here. And this is another reach. 72. So I'm taking players who seem to have good talents, but their overalls are just low. The last two picks anyway. 85 speed, 78 block shed, 82 zone coverage. All the potential's there. This guy is just really weak. Only 65 strength. So that's a concern. Robbins off the board, going to the Chargers, a 74 overall receiver. So I don't really feel bad about missing out on the receivers right now. I don't think anybody's coming away from this class too impressed, though, unless you had like a top 15 selection. On the clock again here in round number 4. We still have 6 selections to make. So hopefully there are some athletes or something that can turn this class the way it looks around. Francis Brightful, 4.51, really good bench reps. Not bad here for a later round option, not at all. And my board is pretty thin right now. I'm going Francis Brightful right here. I like the complete skill set. And Brightful is a 72 overall. It is a good pick in terms of value. I'm not used to getting good picks at 72 though. This at the 4th round. 89 speed, 80 man, 73 zone. Not bad. This was totally the year to need a running back, wasn't it? You can ignore all these other overrated positions and just take a running back. Cecil Arnold. B carrying, B minus juke. Not seeing anything game-changing there in that skill set. Let's go to my draft board where I have 2 players left. This is a ridiculous draft. I got 5 picks to make and 2 players on my board, and I'm not even a fan of those players. I think I'm trading some picks for the future right now because I'm just really let down by this class. So what do you got, everybody? Who wants this 5th round pick? Give me something for next year. And they know how bad it is. They're not giving me like anything for the future. Oh, 2022 4th. Might have to go with that. Who's going to do worse? The team with Bortles at quarterback. I'm counting on them. Like, I'm finding a 5th round receiver here who finished like last in the 40. A 4.75. What am I doing here? These are all like undrafted talents. Like, is this a joke? These combine grades are some of the worst I've ever seen. I'm not even getting tempted by some of these players. Okay, I don't mind this athletic profile here for Tyree Wiggins. We could use some safety depth. He is the pick, and it's a reach. but I think every pick is like a reach at this point. 67 overall, and, you know, probably a special teams player, just some depth. Oh, hello, New England, a 4th rounder next year. I will take that. And who'd you trade up for? They found a 70. New England knew what they were doing here. Just look at some of these overalls, though. Okay, 74. That's not bad. Are we on the clock? Perfect. I'm convinced I found the best player remaining here in the draft, and it's a fullback. I'll make one more selection here with one of the final picks in the draft. Joe Fuller, a 65 overall defensive end. All right, I'm glad this draft is over. This was maybe the worst draft class I've ever seen. This is up there for sure. Oh, thank you. I can look at every single pick here. All right, how many were over 80 overall? That's what I want to know. There were, what? 10 players over 80? Is that good? I feel like, no, this class couldn't be good. This class is terrible. There are 45 players in this class who are 75 overall or higher. That is not enough to even fit the first 2 rounds of the draft. Normally we can come in here and find 3rd and 4th rounders who might even have starting potential, or they can just be good role players. And then when you look at this class, there were only a handful of players in the 3rd and 4th rounds that are even in this range. So this is weak. The fastest player in the class was Russell Newton, a 5th round receiver who went to New Orleans. Montre Booker, the number 2 overall selection, an 81 overall cornerback, going to the Raiders. So they got a good one here, star potential. There were some good players, just very small amount of them. So here's the class this season. Lester Phelps, Alexander Barton, Parker Wood, Francis Brightful, Tyree Wiggins, and Joe Fuller. 78 overall was our best. Our only one above, a 73. I, of course, took Phelps over Marty Sicko, who went to the Steelers. Sicko has quick development. He has these Josh Rosen ratings. That's pretty much Josh Rosen ratings right there. Maybe a little bit more mobile. But yeah, I'm glad I went with Phelps over him. The Vikings picked first in every single round, and they had an 81, a 74, and a 76. Bad year to be number 1 overall, Minnesota. I did like Rashad Glass a lot. I might have taken him had he been there for our 2nd selection. Star potential. Okay, I did not see that. 86 block shed, 82 strength. Definitely not a good cover linebacker, but should be a very good run stopper. Here's Rashad Barclay. He went after we selected Phelps. A star running back. Only needs 4,400 XP to upgrade. 80 power back, 84 speed. Yeah, I think they have to go away from this archetype at running back where it's always the 230 or 240 pound guy with no speed, but really good trucking and carrying and agility. It's just a really overused type, and the power backs don't really have, they're all kind of the same in terms of skill set. I thought about Parker Robbins, who ended up going to the Chargers, 95 speed, but the route running and catching isn't there, so he wouldn't really be a year 1 impact guy. But if they do this correctly, he could be really good. Ohalete going to the Colts at number 6 overall as a 76 overall with quick development. Solid player, really solid skill set all around. The Eagles took Dre McCown. I really wanted to get him for a little while. And yeah, he looks pretty good, just that run block power isn't so good. But I think that they'll be fine with him. Oh wow, AJ Breston even went to the same school as David Johnson. Imagine if we had him on the team. Preston, 89 speed, good juke and elusiveness. Yeah, I like the skills here as an elusive receiving back. He's a 78. I wish they'd let you sort by development trait too. I'd like to know all the star and quick development players. Not sure if it's better to have that information easily accessible or not, but people can find it one way or another. Avery Payne to the Rams. Not to replace Todd Gurley, is he even going to get his carries? 88 speed, 92 carrying, 82 elusiveness. So we see Leonard Fournette and Todd Gurley each get like an elusive counterpart in this offseason. Here's the 84 overall back that the Titans took. 93 speed, 84 vision, 86 elusiveness, even a little break tackle in there. He's under 200 pounds, but it was a good year for running backs for sure. 78 catching is also nice. So that takes us into preseason, and unlike most preseasons, I think I might actually want to watch a game. I'm not sure about everybody else, but now that we have 2 quarterbacks on the roster, I'd love to jump into one of these preseason games and just take a look at Lester Phelps and what he can do, because Rosen is still a starter until further notice, but I really want to evaluate the rookie now. 90 throw power, 80 short accuracy, we got to work on those for sure. And then, of course, the 84 speed to go with it all. He is only 21 years old, so a good chance to develop him. And then remember Rosen now, a few years into his career. He was also 21 when he was drafted. He's still an 80, and he's going to get an upgrade here fairly soon. But the pressure's on now to really perform for Josh Rosen. One thing I should look at, though, are the traits, because there's no way to really change those. So when you have traits here, you're kind of stuck with them. But for Rosen, he does not throw the ball away. He senses pressure on an average basis. He's balanced at forcing passes, throws a tight spiral. He's not clutch either. Then Lester Phelps. Let's change that number. 5 sounds pretty good to me. Not bad. But his traits, he does have throw ball away. He's conservative when it comes to forcing passes. He does throw a tight spiral. So definitely some differences between him and Rosen. And then also not clutch. They gave him classic 7 here as throwing style. We know he's right-handed at least. All right. So I think next episode, I would like to see what Phelps can do. I'd like to watch him play. We might just have a preseason episode for the first time, but we have a good reason if that's the case. So here's a look at the team now. Very similar to a year ago. We add O.J. Howard. We lose Josh Doxson. We also bring in Deontay Foreman. So I think that overall the offense should be better as we develop these players a bit more. Defensively, a lot of this stayed the same, but we added Jonathan Allen and replaced Corey Peters. We no longer have Jamar Taylor, but I think that Dunar Hoval can step in and play well. And then we added in some new linebacker talent. What do you think about this team, and what do you think about this offseason? This was not your typical offseason. Now that I've gone through a bunch of these with the Browns, especially, I kind of know what to expect, and this was really out of the ordinary. But I hope that I've set this team up to have chances at success in the future. Leave your thoughts on what you think about this team below in the comment section. I think there's a lot to talk about in this episode because there were a lot of different routes I could have taken, and I took one that you probably didn't expect me to take, quite frankly. So please leave your feedback down below. Smash that like button if you enjoyed the action today, and subscribe for much more Cardinals rebuild to come. See you guys next time, and have a great day.